Good morning, everyone. For our report, we'll talk about the Inca civilization. They were one of the biggest empires in South America and had some really interesting ideas. We'll share about their astronomy, number system, technology, medicine, and agriculture, and then explain how their empire came to an end. Hopefully, we'll see how amazing their culture was and why it's still remembered today. The astronomy of the Inca civilization was one of their greatest scientific achievements. The Incas built sun temples at Machu Picchu and Pisa. These temples were sacred sites and observatories. Priests, who were also astronomers, studied the movement of the sun, the moon, and Venus. For the Inca, the rising and setting of these bodies were not just natural events. They were signals that guided festivals, rituals, and farming. Astronomy was especially important for agriculture. Near Cusco, the Incas placed stone pillars on mountains and hills. When the sun rose or set between these markers, it meant the right time to plant crops at different altitudes. In this way, the Incas used the sky as a reliable farming calendar. The Incas also studied constellations, and they divided them into two kinds. The first type connected stars into shapes. A well-known example was the Pleiades, which they considered sacred. They believed it affected the health of animals, so shamans performed sacrifices to honor it. The second type was unique to the Incas. Instead of using stars, they looked at the dark patches in the Milky Way. These shapes were imagined as living animals moving along what they thought was a great river in the sky. Some examples include Makaway, the serpent, which represented snakes and appeared in August, disappearing in February. Hamtatu, the toad. Linked to rainfall, its appearance marked planting season. Yutu, the tinamit, a bird constellation that guided the potato harvest cycle. Or Cuchulae, the llama, their most important constellations, with Alpha and Beta Centauri as the eyes. Atok, the fox, found near the llama, symbolizing chase and connected with the birth of fox cubs in December. For the Incas, astronomy was more than a science. It guided their agriculture, directed their religious practices, and expressed their deep relationship with nature. What makes it even more remarkable is that this knowledge survived long after the Spanish conquest. This shows how central astronomy was to the Inca world, shaping not only their daily life but also their cultural identity.
Let's proceed to the number system. The quipu was the Inca's special recording tool made of knotted strings. It is used a base 10 system where the position of the knots showed units, and the units are tens and hundreds. The official recorded important data like taxes, population counts, harvest, and military supplies. This is made with an efficient system for organizing the empire even without writing language. The quipu shows that the Incas were highly skilled administrators who valued order and control. Let's proceed to the technology and meta system. The Incas did not have wheels or iron tools, but they still achieved advanced engineering. Their system work was called the meta, where the people were required to work for a year, starting from the age of 15 to age 50. Through this system, people built roads, temples, and terraces, and also they served as farmers, soldiers, and messengers. The system was fair during the Inca Empire because workers received food, security, and protection from the government. However, the Spaniards arrived. They abused the mita by forcing natives into hard labor in mines and plantation, which led to suffering and decline of the Inca population. Machu Picchu. This is the most famous Inca site, built during the 1400s by Emperor Pachacuti. It served as a royal estate, a religious center, and possibly an observatory. The city included temples, terraces, and living spaces. The terraces prevented landslides and allowed farming on steep mountain slopes. Because it was hidden high in the Andes, the Spanish never found it, so it remained preserved until the rediscovered in 1911 by Hiram Bingham. Today, Machu Picchu is a symbol of the advanced engineering and culture of the Incas. The construction and architecture. The Incas were skilled builders who used a technique called ashlar masonry, where stones were cut and shaped so precisely and fit together without need of a mortar. Their buildings had trapezoidal doors and windows, along with slanted walls, which added extra strength and stability. These design features allowed their structures to resist the frequent earthquakes in the Andes region. Because of this, many Inca buildings and temples still stand today, showing their advanced knowledge of engineering and architecture of that time. Communication chassis. The Incas developed a fast communication system through chassis, who were young and strong runners working in a relay system. Each runner carried quipus for record keeping, cord shells to announce their arrival, and small bags for packages. When one runner reached the end of his route, he quickly passed the message to the next, ensuring no time was wasted. The system allowed information, goods, and others to travel across the vast empire in just one day. Because of the chassis, the Inca leaders could control and organize their empire efficiently even without the modern technology. Road system and suspension bridges. The Incas built an enormous 40,000-kilometer road network that connected the entire empire from mountains to coast, to rivers, valleys, and deep ravines. They constructed rope suspension bridges made from wood and grass. These bridges were built regularly by local communities, ensuring they stayed strong and safe. The roads and bridges were essential for travel, trade, military movements, and communication, helping to unite the empire. This system showed how advanced and organized the Incas were, even without modern technology.
Good day, everyone. Today, I will be reporting about the medical practices and healthcare system of the civilization. The Inca had an extensive knowledge of medicine, surgery, and healing, which made them one of the most advanced civilizations in terms of early science and health system. Number 1 is medical plants and remedies of Inca civilization. The Incas were able to cure many illnesses such as gout, bronchitis, dysentery, ulcers, eye problems, lice, and toothaches. To treat this, they used medical plants like coca leaves, wild tobacco, chicha, and maize beer as an anesthetics or painkillers. They also use plants with soap-like characteristics such as balsam and saponins as natural antiseptics or sanitizer. For the second was surgery and trepanation of Inca civilization. One of their greatest accomplishments was surgery. Inca surgeons were skilled in removing diseased limbs, repairing injuries, and even performing brain surgery. A common procedure they practiced was trepanation, which involved drilling, cutting, or scraping a hole in the skull. Although the surgery was very risky at first, by the 1400s, the Inca had perfected the procedure. Survival rates went up to around 90% with low infection level. Archaeological evidence showed that some patients even underwent the surgery multiple times. They used balsam and saponins as antiseptics while maize beer helped with pain relief. For number 3 is type of doctors in Inca civilization. The Inca healthcare system also had different types of doctors. Number 1 is the watok, who diagnosed the patients and found the origin of the disease. Number 2 is the hanfek, who used herbs and minerals to cure, similar to shamans and sometimes use mystical powers. Number 3 is the fako, a spiritual healer who believed the soul was in the heart and ensured the patient's spirit remained healthy. And for the last is the San Kunyuk, a surgeon priest who handled broken bones, open wounds, and dental problems like pulling out teeth. For the fourth and last is their procedure in becoming a doctor. Becoming an Inca doctor was not easy. Knowledge was first passed from the father to son. The son would then study at the Inca School of Medicine in Cusco, where they learned about herbs, minerals, and treatments. Only after years of practice was he considered a real doctor. The most skilled surgeons often traveled with the army or served nobles, always searching for new cures and improving old ones.
The Incas didn't just survive in the snow-capped peaks. They thrived inventing extensive agricultural and irrigation systems that continue to inspire modern farming today. Their genius was rooted in three key innovations. The Incas developed terraces farming. These stair-stepped fields were more than just a place to plant crops. They were a sophisticated environmental control system. First, snow retaining walls were built. These stones are act as heat batteries, absorbing the sun during the day and radiating warmth back out at night. A crucial step that often preventing crops like corns and potatoes from freezing in the chilling temperatures. The terraces were then layered with gravel, sand, and topsoil, ensuring excellent drainage and soil conservation. The terraces were hard to make, but they have a system that is good to farm. And also, they will have a place for their homes. Next, the Incas created complex aqueducts. This channeled water system collected mountain runoff to irrigate the terraces and delivered fresh water. Remarkably, many of these waterways were carved directly into the solid rock, not pieced together from the bricks to virtually eliminate the leakage, a testament to their engineering. Many of these ancient channels are still in use today. Lacking domesticated animals for plowing, Inca farmers relied on specialized manual tools adapted for the steep terrain. The main tool was the chaquitakla, a foot plow used to sink a sharp point into the soil for plowing and sowing. These agricultural skills led to massive surpluses for food security, and it is the top priority for the Inca government. They grew more than their population needed and stored the excess in thousands of state-owned cualca. Cualca is a warehouse where it is located across the empire. These reserves were maintained for 3 to 7 years, safeguarding the people against famine and supplying government personnel. Finally, to preserve their food, the Incas invented their own technique of freeze drying. They took advantage of the extreme high altitude climate. Food was spread out to freeze at night and then dry. Intense sunlight evaporated the moisture during the day. This process turned potatoes into a chuño, a lightweight, long-lasting staple. Through their masterful control of soil, water, and preservation, the Incas demonstrated a powerful and sustainable way of life, a legacy of cleverness that endures in the Andes Mountain this day.
So, spread of disease is one of the biggest reasons for the fall of the Inca Empire. The Spaniards carried disease like smallpox, influenza, measles, typhus, and chickenpox. So the Inca had no natural immunity, so the diseases spread rapidly and killed between 50% to 90% of the population in a single decade. So this did not only affect the common people, but also the nobility. In fact, the Emperor Huayna Capac and his heir both died from smallpox. Because so many farmers, soldiers, and workers died, agriculture collapsed, communication network broke down, and the empire lost its strength. So in Civil War, the death of Huayna Capac caused a succession crisis. Two brothers fought for the throne. So Huáscar and Atahualpa. Huáscar, the legitimate heir from Cusco, supported by nobles, and Atahualpa, a strong military leader, supported in Quito. The Civil War lasted 5 years and ended in 1532 with Atahualpa victory at the Battle of Quipayufan. But this war divided the empire and left it weakened, unstable, and vulnerable to outside threats. So in Spanish conquest, in the same year, 1532, Conquistador Francisco Pizarro arrived in Peru with only 180 men and 37 horses. Despite being outnumbered, the Spanish had still swords, guns, cannons, horses, and surprise tactics. They also formed alliance with local tribes who were centered in Cabul. Atahualpa met the Spaniards in Cajamarca, where he was tricked and captured during a surprise attack. He offered a ransom of a room filled with gold and 2 rooms filled with silver.
This is one of the largest ransom in history. But the Spaniard killed him anyway in 1533. Soon after, they marched to Cusco, the Inca capital, and took control of the empire.